How many of you have chosen to be a robot? You are going through the motions, just constantly doing the same thing day in, day out, either consciously or subconsciously. I really believe that a lot of us have bought into this idea that we are just stuck. We don't have a choice. We have to do it this way. And we believe that. We believe it, we speak about it, and we feel stuck. And a lot of you are really going through a difficult time. And so, with everything going on in our world, either you've lost your job or you don't know how to move forward and you feel paralyzed. And so, you think that resorting to this robotic nature, just wash, rinse, repeat, is your life. And you know what I've heard recently? I heard that if you don't feel like there is a future, if you don't feel like there's something to look forward to, that can cause utter despair, anxiety, and frustration. And I'm going to tell you, I understand how you feel. Oftentimes what I've been realizing, I haven't been sharing with you all that I went through a lot of stuff too. 2020, as we all know, was a time when everybody felt some kind of way. But I will tell you about myself. I was depressed. I went through a clinical depression. And I don't know, for those of you who don't know my story, that in 2020, when the world shut down, some of us got excited about things because we thought, oh, I'm introverted. I don't have to talk to anybody. Others of us, me, and a lot of women who have used success as our means of healing, trying to be everywhere, do everything, that really tore myself and a lot of people I know apart. I went into this mode of this idea that I am never going to be able to get out of this situation, and I am not certain what I can do because my mode was to go out and help a whole bunch of people, go serve people. That was how I felt like I could heal. And I was stuck. I lost 20 pounds. I was shaking uncontrollably. I felt like I couldn't swallow. I felt like there was something constricting my throat. And I really felt like I was taking the world's pain and putting it inside my body. And I completely and 100% disconnected from this idea that I have an intelligence inside of me, that I have something superior inside of me that can help me move out of this. And so I was waking up every day with this almost not wanting to wake up in 2020. I mean, there were just times where I was like, I don't even know if I can get out of bed. There were times when I would just go on Zoom and my face would be all puffy because I hadn't slept, because I couldn't turn my mind off. And I just felt so overwhelmed. And I really did not know if I was going to make it. So that was my deep depression in 2020 that made me believe that the only way for me to be able to function was to just be a robot, just live with this despair. And I just want to let you know that's not the way that we have to live, ladies. I want us corporate women to understand that we are not robots. Okay, so what I want you to do right now is I want you to raise your right hand and I want you to repeat after me. I am not a robot. Say it. I am not a robot. What I want to talk about today is I want to talk about the fact that you need to tap into your own AI. This is your own authentic intelligence. This is the fact that you have a spiritual intelligence inside of you, that you were made not by anyone here on earth. Of course, you had a mother and a father, but you come from a spiritual intelligence, the ultimate of knowing. There is a divinity that lives inside of you that will allow you to be able to unwind a lot of the things that you have developed over time in your mind. Don't let anyone tell you that this is not true. Everything that I am telling you helped me unwind all of the depression, the anxiety, the fear, all of those things. They went away because I started to learn a couple of things. And this is what I want to teach you. The first thing that I learned was that I am here for a specific reason. I've been placed on this earth for a very specific reason. And contrary to popular belief, it is not for me to just be an attorney. It's not for me just to work a job. It's not for me just to have live my life and eat my food and come home and be programmed by all of the programs that are out here, social media, and get swept away by social media, get swept away by the problems of the world, and get swept away because I may have lost my job. And I understand the depths of looking on things on the surface, how horrible that can feel and how horrible that can sound. But when you start to tap into your own authentic intelligence, you believe that there's another way. And that's the first thing that you have to realize. Until you start to realize this, you will feel there's no hope. You will start to understand that I have to look to the outside world. I have to understand what's going on in the news. I have to understand what's going on. And some of you do because you are news reporters, right? But some of you believe that you have to understand what's going on everywhere in the world. You're so tapped in to all of the things going on and going to all these different functions, being on all these different boards, trying to be on all these meetings because you don't feel seen, heard, and valued. That is a prescription for frustration, anger, depression, and anxiety. And a lot of you have been code switching and posturing and also making yourself out to be something that you're not and pretending. And so you find yourself just robotic. You're scared to speak your truth. You're scared to say something, and you're scared to break free of all of the things that got you to where you are right now. And this is the work that we have to do on ourselves first in order for us to be effective advocates, in order for us to be effective leaders. We have to understand these very basic concepts. And so, for some of you who are unsure of what I'm talking about, I want to go a little deep. And if you guys, anyone at any time, has any questions or anything like that, I want you to go ahead and just put them in the chat, ask a question, and I would love to make this a dialogue, not just a monologue. Okay, I would love this to make this a dialogue. So the first thing I want you to understand that you were designed to create, to think, and connect. So it's not creation, the creative process is not just for artists, singers, entertainers, and people who produce things in the technical world. We, as corporate women, are creators. We are co creators, meaning that we tap into God, or if you don't want to use God, the ultimate intelligence, the higher power, whatever you want to call it. We co create. When we co create, we are able to use our thought process to know what it is that we are supposed to put out in this world. And this is the fundamental truth that no one has taught you. No one made you understand that the power that you have comes from within, that the power that you have does not come from your degree. Doesn't come from your success. And it certainly does not come from your title or the job role that you are in. Your creation and your power comes from you co creating with God to walk through your life. Now, the issue is for a lot of people is we have started to understand that we can't overcome certain thoughts. And often because we're not aware of them. A lot of us are, as I said about being a robot, you are accepting every single day the thoughts that you have in your mind, these thoughts that you've had over the years that are just like a well run, like a road that's like a dirt road that just started to make a road and it got deeper and deeper because there's these flaps in your mind that are repeating these negative behaviors and negative thoughts. It's on loop and you're not even aware of it. And that's exactly what happened to me when I was feeling depressed because I was repeating these old narratives and these old ways of thinking. And I didn't really believe. I mean, here's the scripture, right? Here's what it says. And here's what these beautiful positive words say, but I wasn't believing them. And I believe it didn't apply to me. So the work came in is that I didn't really believe that I had the ability to break free. And here's the thing, you do have the ability to break free of those tired, worn out narratives. And I just want to be a beacon of light to you to let you know it is possible to break free. You can create a new life. If you aren't satisfied with where you are right now, you have to make certain that you are working on yourself. You are a creative human being. You have the ability to connect spiritually with God, to move things out of the way. You can co create with God to understand the power that you have within you to regulate your emotions, to regulate your thoughts, to get your hormones back in balance, to make yourself a healthy human being. Once you start to understand that, then you will start to build upon this new story that you're going to need to tell yourself. You're going to need to create a new story and you're going to want to create a new life. And when you understand that you have the power to do that, that is when you will start to break free of the prison that you've put yourself in. A lot of us are blaming a lot of other people for where we are in our lives. We blame our family, we blame our boss, we blame our company, we blame the president, we blame the government, we blame everyone else for where we are right now. And there certainly are circumstantial things that are happening in our world right now, which are real, but they're as real as you believe them to be. You can pull away from that tired narrative and you can begin to create a new dream, a new hope, a new idea. And the more that you pull away from that and you start to connect with God, you start to see things differently, you will be your own Martin Luther King. And I want to share this, what made Martin Luther King believe that he could go out here and do the things that he did? What made him believe that? Well, for one thing, he certainly didn't believe anything that was said in the government, certainly did not believe what the president had to say, certainly didn't believe what other people had to say. And it takes a very courageous individual to be able to do that. And that's what you have the power to do. And so I want you to understand, again, I want you to raise your right hand. I want you to say, I'm not a robot. I don't have to repeat the same things over and over and over and again and expecting a different result. I get to repeat new things and I get to say new ways of living to get myself into a new narrative. I will spend the rest of my living days sharing this message to let you know that there is a path that you can get on. And it's the path to power and purpose and connection. And when you get on that path and you start to follow that path every single day of your life by doing some of the principles that I want to share with you, you will see your life change. So, I want to start off by giving you some books that I really would love for you to consider reading. And once I started kind of reading these books and once I started learning, and by the way, everything that I am telling you, I had glimpses of and I felt were relevant to me. But it wasn't until honestly about 2020 that I really started diving in. So let's think about that. So I am 56 now, and I became a lawyer and had a successful corporate career and became an attorney and did all the things, but I didn't start to wake up and remove this robotic nature until about 2020. And I want to give you some things I want you to do because if you want to journey with me, if you want to do this work, which we do in our Rise Advocates Academy, this is what is going to help us change the world. And in corporate America, corporate women, this is who I serve. Once we start to adopt this way of training and living, we will see our corporate spaces change. We will help redefine the way in which we work and what we accept. So, one of the first books that I want you to put in your library, this is a book I want you to put in your library, which is The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. This is a great book that I believe every single one of you needs to read. It was written back in the 1940s, and it was written about the time of the Depression. And it was to help anchor people, to help them know that you have a subconscious mind. You have a subconscious mind and you have a conscious mind. And the conscious mind is living in the present, right? It has this idea that I am here, I'm talking to you right now on this live, and it is conscious of what is going on right here. But your subconscious mind is what's playing in the background. So it's whatever your mind is programmed to believe. And most of the time, your mind was programmed in the very early years of your life because that was when, from 0 to 7, you started to lay down the basic tracks of your life. And it doesn't matter if you had a college degree, you have a PhD, you're a lawyer, all of those things that you learned for your trade doesn't necessarily impact your subconscious mind. What impacts your subconscious mind is whatever you began to repeat and believe on a daily basis. And until you start to tune in to your subconscious mind to know what it's telling you, even though you are here with me right now, you have playing in the background of your mind what it is that you believe. So I just want to share that with you because that was a very profound thing that I really didn't understand until I started studying that. Because I kept saying that, keep doing the same thing over and over and over and again and repeating things and not getting a different result. That's because I was living like a robot, just like a lot of all of you, living like a robot until I started tapping into this subconscious playing in the back of my mind that I began to say, okay, I say that I want to do this, but in my mind, I'm doing something else. I have negative thoughts, or I don't really believe what that person is saying, or I don't believe myself that I'm capable of doing what it is that I say I want to do. Are you picking up what I'm laying down? This is the power of your subconscious mind. Now, you really need to understand that in order to be able to change anything, you have to get clear on what it is that you want changed, right? And I believe in the power of prayer. I believe that whatever you pray for, whatever you ask for, and you believe that it is already so, and you start living your life as if it is so, it will change. It will change. And that is that is an intelligence That's what I'm getting back is that's your authentic intelligence at work. Is you can begin to repeat a new narrative. And you're in order for you to be able to change something, and we all know this, because whatever you repeat over and over and over again will be your reality. Even your personality is it creates your personal reality. Your personality creates your personal reality. And so if you believe that your life is over and I have to separate from people and I, I lost my job or I have a title change or people aren't listening to me and you keep repeating over and over again those narratives that I'm destined for, I don't have any hope, then you won't have hope, right? And you won't be able to change your circumstances because that's what you keep saying and that's what you keep repeating every single day of your life. And this is what I want you to get out of is the robotic nature. I want you to move away from being a robot and I want you to move into a new way of believing and thinking. So I'm going to give you 2 steps for you to be able to do this. And if this is something that you are really wanting to do, you will do it. And I realize a lot of people aren't desperate enough for this. A lot of people just don't feel this is important. This is more important than scheduling a boycott. This is more important than advocating against something that you don't believe in. Getting yourself moved out of this robotic nature and into your ultimate intelligence is your number one goal. It's your number one job, and it is needs to be your number one job today. So I'm going to give you 2 things to think about. One thing that I want you to begin to do is I want to have you wake up in the morning time, and the first thing that you do after you go to the restroom, I want you to go sit on the side of your bed, and I just want you to set your alarm for 5 minutes. And I want you to just sit there and breathe deep in through your nose and out through your nose. And I want you to see all of the things that pop up in your head. And if you have a hard time just focusing for 5 minutes on something, like if you, meaning like just allowing your mind to just be in the present moment, to be grateful for your breath, be grateful for the fact that your heart beats without you having to do anything. Be grateful for the opportunity to wake up. Be grateful for your bed or be grateful for the person that's with you and your family or whatever that is. And if you start to kind of move into other things like your to do list or you start to move into repeating, oh my gosh, I got to go watch the news. Oh, what's happening today? What was the next executive order? How we're going to do this? You are a robot. You're a robot because you are not believing that you can control what you think about. That's called power. I want you to have that type of power. Is that something that you will practice? Because whatever you repeat every single day, whatever you practice, whatever you say, whatever you do every single day will be the reality that you see in your life. So that is the first thing that I want you to be able to identify. The second thing that I want you to be able to identify is what are the stories that you keep repeating to yourself over and over again? What are the narratives that play in the background? Because you definitely have a soundtrack that is playing in the background of your mind and that you are living out. And don't believe it's true, then if you choose to be conscious during the day, I want you to be able to write down the triggers that you feel during the day. In other words, you find yourself being triggered by traffic. You find yourself being triggered by people, your boss, whatever. What story are you telling yourself that's tied to that trigger? And once you get clear on the story that you keep telling yourself that's tied to that trigger, and you write the opposite of what it is that you want to believe, and you start living and repeating that over and over and over again, your life will change. So, this is something that I really want you to begin to think about because in time, we will see a different world. We are already seeing this different world. A lot of us are caught up in everything going on with, what's going on in the world. And some of us are caught up with what's going on in our jobs. But I want you to be caught up in the power that you have to change your life and the lives around you. So, the first thing I want you to do again is pick up The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. And I want to continue to dive into this topic. I want to continue to dive into these topics to help you be able to see a different way. I want you to know that you can have peace. You can feel a sense of validation and a recognition and accomplishment through your own authentic intelligence. I want you to recognize that for yourself. I want you to begin to practice this every single day. And I will know that you will come to me. If you've just practiced this for 30 days, you will see your life change. And I just want to know who's with me. Put it in the comments below. If you've stayed on here for this long, that means that there must be something that you're feeling about this material. And it might be that our energies are connecting. We're connecting because we see that we have power. We see that we have an energy that is about us and in us to help us understand that we don't have to repeat the same thing over and over and over and over again and expecting a different result. That's insanity. And I want you to have that type of power. So here's what the imperative thing is: practice the two things or three things that I have in here. Pick up the book, but then also follow me, right? You need to be able to get in a community of people. You need to surround yourself with people who think like this, believe like this. And for those of you who are in corporate America who are struggling right now, you need to be in spaces and in communities who talk, speak, live like this. I'm going to put the link for you to be able to connect with me, to get into our community, to be into our get our weekly content so that you can begin to establish a new way. By the way, please put on your calendar that we will have a webinar that's going to be going on March 9th, which is a Sunday at 1 p.m. for you to be able to learn this stuff. We're calling it our own church. So we hope that you will be able to come with us and learn more about all the things we're talking about so that you can gain a sense of peace, recognition, and accomplishment outside of these external validations that you've been holding on to. Sound like a plan? I look forward to seeing you.